Warning, this episode contains adult language, mature situations, extremely introverted mech pilots, sarcastic artificial intelligence, man-eating kaiju, the effects of a global freeze, and 16 years of manga podcasts. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Listener and viewer discretion is advised. Spiraken Manga Review, episode 557. Hello and welcome to an extremely special episode of the Spiraken Manga Review. I'm your host Zan, saying konnichiwa, aloha, buongiorno, and what's up? Yes, this is a great episode because this is the 16-year anniversary of the Spiraken Manga Review. In 2008, on May 15th, I started the Spiraken Manga Review with my former co-host Mei-san, and since then we've talked about over 560 mangas of every type possible. Everything from shonen, shoujo, josei, gekiga, seinen, and even some non-mangas, some actual comics. We've talked about them and given tons of reviews about them, and also have had tons of other podcasts on this website as well. I'm really excited to keep this going, but I'm excited to talk about some of the cool things today. But before we go any further, if you are joining us for the first time, welcome. Spiraken, or Some Podcasts Conveying Reviews About Connected Enhanced Narratives, is a nerdy podcast where every episode we talk about various geeky topics, and I tell you the pros and cons about it. How the art style is, the overarching plot, the character design, most importantly, if it's worth investing your time in or not. You don't have to agree with anything that I and my co-host say, but we try to be educational, enlightening, exciting, and most importantly, entertaining. And like I said, you can check out any of our early episodes at www.spiraken.com. And if you're watching on YouTube, remember to like, share, subscribe, click on that bell for notification, and definitely comment below. With that in mind, let's actually get to it, because if you remember for that last episode, I spun that one, that only, the Wheel of Manga, and it dictated to be there reviewing a rather different manga than what we're used to. And what do I mean by that? Well, the one we're talking about is a survivalist manga that was written by Yuhiro Tsujitsugu and published by Shogakukan, released over here by Viz Media. This is actually a Viz Media signature title, meaning it is a seinen series. This is designed for people over the age of 18, so it's a little more mature, even though the main character is not as mature. This was released in monthly Big Comic Spirits magazine in 2021. It is still coming out to this day. There are currently 6 collections, 6 tankobon, 6 volumes that are currently released. It is not complete. It is a SF survival series. It is a science fiction series. It is also technically a mecha series. It is a seinen, as I said earlier, and the original title for this was Snowball Earth, but in English it is known simply as Snowball Earth. And this is a crazy, crazy, crazy manga that starts off one way and completely flips the script after the first chapter. And the premise of this is pretty simple. In the far-flung future, there is kaiju that have shown up, and they're going to destroy the Earth. The only thing that is going to protect us from these giant kaiju that have come from space to kill us all is a giant robot named Snowball and the defense fleet known as the Urza. And this is 2025 this happened, so next year. And since then, there are tons of attacks on Earth, and this robot pilot is going to save the day. Our pilot's name is Tetsuo Yabusame, and he is amazing at what he does. When the aliens first showed up at 9 years old, he got in the cockpit, fought a bunch of monsters and kaiju, saved the day, and since then, he has been focusing on training and fighting these monsters. The only problem with this is that he has no social skills whatsoever. He is not good at anything. He doesn't have friends, and he wants to have friends. He has books which explain how to make friends. And whenever he tries to deal with this, because they're pretty simple options, introduce yourself, talk, smile, things of this nature, when he tries to do it to people who greet him, because he is the savior of the Earth, he's the one that's going to save the day, when he talks to them, he's like, thank you! He doesn't know how to deal with it. He kind of freaks out. The only friend he has is Yukio. Yukio, or Snowball, is the AI for the giant robot he's in. Yukio actually was originally a sentient AI bomb that was going to fly to the kaiju and blow up. But he had self-preservation, and he didn't want to do this. But Yukio, with the help of Tetsuo, became a hero because Tetsuo piloted him, fought the robots. They said, we don't need to blow him up. We could just fight the monsters and save the day. And this is what happened. So Yukio is super faithful and a great friend to Tetsuo. Actually, he's his only friend. And he tries to motivate him, but it doesn't really work that much. And their life is, they're going to just be friends and do this. But more important than that, this is the final battle against the kaiju. Thousands of kaiju are coming from space to destroy us all. And so what the plan is very simple. What's going to happen is that the great battleship, the Urzo, is going to fly in the middle of this huge cluster of kaiju and unleash their ultimate weapon, the omnidirectional laser blast that will destroy all of the kaiju. Meanwhile, before they can charge it up, it is Tetsuo and Yukio's job to run interference and keep them occupied, keep them together so that all the kaiju are going to fight them and kick butt. This is the plan, and they're going to save the day. And what happens once Tetsuo is in that cockpit? Well, he kicks ass. He shows that he is amazing at his job. He does all the great things possible that are great and wonderful. And unfortunately, because of that, he's doing a great job, and they are super excited. We're going to save the day, kick butt. It's going to be just sit on our laurels, and then we get home, we're going to relax, get married, get food, do whatever. Tetsuo's going to make friends. Unfortunately, when they turn it on, the engine dies. So it turns out this ultimate weapon does not work. And worse than that, because this has drained all their power, their barrier has stopped. So they are sitting ducks in the middle of space with a bunch of man-destroying kaiju coming to kill them. This is really bad. Really, really bad. And meanwhile, Tetsuo and Yukio are fighting these kaiju, not noticing that the main fleet has been destroyed. This is really bad. He's like, what do we do now? How are we going to save the Earth? So Yukio has a brilliant idea. Yukio says, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. I have been programmed to save the day and fight the monsters. And what we're going to do is we're going to self-destruct and save the day. And that's what's going to happen. And Tetsuo's like, totally gets it because we're going to save the Earth. That's the plan. The only thing is that Yukio ends up gaining... He's already a smart AI, but he realizes that Tetsuo sacrificed everything to save his life. He's never returned the favor. So what Yukio does is Yukio saves Tetsuo. He does something truly noble and selfless and ejects Yukio from his shell into an escape pod sent back to Earth. He's like, listen, I'm going to self-destruct. I'm saving you. Make tons of friends. Have a great life. And then he blows up. And Yukio is gone. Tetsuo agrees to give his friend one last wish. Make friends. That's what's going to happen. More importantly, he's excited and ready to kick butt and make some friends. So he ends up getting into cryosleep. 8 years later, he lands on Earth, and he's excited to get back, and he saved the day. He's the hero of the world. Everyone's going to want to be his friend. Life is going to be good. That's his plan. Unfortunately, when he opens up the cockpit, something really bad happens. Turns out he is on Earth, and it's only been 8 years, but Earth is now in a glacial freeze. Something happened, and Earth is now covered in ice, and everyone seems to be dead. So he is alone on Earth. He cannot bring salvation. He has failed, and yeah, he's kind of SOL. And this is where the manga actually starts, and it is about Tetsuo surviving in this hellscape that is current Earth. And honestly, wow, this is fucking... It starts off really powerful and great, and then once he gets onto Earth, this slows to a halt. It's him just, I'm going to find some friends because it's freezing and no one else is here. And then turns out there's kaiju still on Earth and they're coming to kill him. And since he's screaming, hi, I'm looking for friends, or I need to find someone, bad shit happens. A lot of bad shit. Turns out the kaiju still exist. He doesn't have a giant robot, so he has to improvise. He's able to fight the robots, which is kind of cool, and fight the kaiju, but he can't do anything else, really. He's not great at surviving, and he has no social skills. Eventually, he does find some people, and one of the cool parts about surviving the people, which is kind of sick and horrifying, is that people are surviving by eating the kaiju. They actually carve up and eat the kaiju. But worse than that, there are bigger kaiju that will eat them. So he has to figure out how to save them while dealing with that, while trying to interact with all these people who he can interact with. And when he tries to interact, it's very socially awkward. There's some characters who are introduced who are a little different. There is a female character who apparently is the kaiju tamer, who is also an accountant. We don't get what that deal is with that, but that's what it is. And this is the story. There is a little bit of a twist at the end of the first volume, which I'm not going to get into, which kind of makes it a little better, but it has its highs and its lows. And the first part is so powerful and so great, and then when it gets to Earth, it kind of falls apart. It does get more interesting where it's like, they're survivors, and the reason why they're surviving. That is really cool, but yeah, that is where we're at with this series. And honestly, because of that, since it is so polarizing, and worse than that, this is promoted by Hideki Anno and the creator of One Punch Man, and they say this is the best thing ever. I am severely let down. Honestly, I could put this down. I will forget what happened tomorrow. This is not one of those, I need to read the rest later. There is more coming out. I am going to check the second volume to make sure that it does, see if it does get better. I will give an update. But for right now, it's good. The art is great. The concept is great. It pitches up and down. Now, if you've read this and you disagree with me, you can let me know. But for right now, my current rating for this is our middle of the ground rating, which is a gift from your crazy Aunt Muriel. It's okay, but in the end, it is forgettable. The concept is solid, but it doesn't hold any water. We gotta see if this gets better, if there's more interesting characters, or if they do something a little different as this goes on. The twist kind of makes up for it and promises more, but I feel a little let down by this, and that's kind of a shame. I really don't want to be let down by this. I want this to be like, yes, I want to read more, but that's not the case. So let me know. Email me zansparkin.com or tweet me at Sparkin. Let me know your thoughts on if you agree with me or not. And random question of the day is going to be, could you survive in another ice age? Personally, me, I would be dead instantly. Not because of the cold, but because probably my joints would freeze up, or I would not have any medication to survive or food to survive. So yeah, I would die. I'm not a prepper. I'm not a good person. But with that in mind, let's actually get to the manga releases for the week, because we've got some really cool ones. And the manga releases for the week are going to be pretty cool. Let's go to it. So the big one for the manga releases for this week are going to be, well, starting off with The Weakest Tamer Begins a Journey to Pick Up Trash, Volume 5. That is the first one that came out this week. Next we had Virgin Love, Volume 3. To the Abandoned Sacred Beast, Volume 15. That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, Volume 24. Sword of the Demon Hunter, Kijin Getsuzu, the Light Novel, Volume 5. The Strongest Sage with the Weakest Crest, Volume 18. A Sign of Affection, the Omnibus one, which is Volumes 1 to 3. A Sign of Affection, Volume 8. This one I'm actually excited to pick up. Sakura Saku, Volume 3. Reincarnated as a Dragon Hatchling, Light Novel, Volume 6. Reborn as a Barrier Master, Volume 6. Ragna Crimson, Volume 12. Precarious Woman Executive Miss Black General, Volume 10. My Lovesick Life as a 90s Otaku, Volume 3. Ladies on Top, Volume 6. K. Yaku, Bound by Law, Volume 1. I Want to End This Love Game, Volume 2. Helk, Volume 9. The Great Yokai War Guardians, Volume 3. Gazing at the Stars Next Door, Volume 2. Fly Me to the Moon, Volume 23. Easygoing Territory Defense by the Optimistic Lord. Production Magic Turns a Nameless Village into the Strongest Fortified City, the Light Novel, Volume 2. The Duke of Death and His Maid, Volume 12. Dragon Ball Super, Volume 21, arguably the last volume that's going to be coming out for a while. Chilling in Another World with Level 2 Super Cheat Powers, Volume 8. A Cat from Our World and the Forgotten Witch, Volume 2. Black Knight Parade, Volume 3. BL First Cross Anthology, 5 Seconds Before We Fall in Love. The Apothecary Diaries, Light Novel, Volume 1. And last and certainly not least, 2.5 Dimensional Seduction, Volume 10. These are the mangas that have come out this week. There are tons of great ones, tons of bad ones. Which are the ones you're most excited about? Let me know. Email me, zansparkin.com. For me personally, the ones I'm excited about most are To the Abandoned Sacred Gods, Volume 15. It's been a year since this series came out, and I've been loving this series. It's with werewolves, vampires. It is crazy. Check out our review of it. It's well done. A Sign of Affection 8. This series is just keep steamrolling on, and it is great. My Lovesick Life is a 90s Otaku. It is a fun, nostalgic series. Fly Me to the Moon, Volume 23, another romantic series that's a lot of fun. And Apothecary Diaries, Volume 1, the light novel. I've been waiting for this series, and Greta's so excited to read this. We got this, and we're both geeking out about it. So these are the ones we're most excited about. So, with that in mind, before we go any further, I've got some news. Next week, I will be at that one that only Animazement 2024. Yes, we're going to be at Animazement 2024, and I have a list of my panels and when they're going to be. So let's actually get to it. So the panels that we're going to be doing are on Friday, May 24, 2024, I will be running the live action equation, Anime in the Flesh, which is a panel about live action adaptations from Lady Oscar. We're talking about the Rose of Versailles adaptation all the way straight through to Golden Kamuy, which drops on Netflix this week. We're going to see how that goes. That's going to be at 5:30 p.m. in room 306B. Then on Saturday, May 25th, 2024, we've got I'm Not Old, main characters over 30 years old. That's going to be 5:30 p.m. in 306A. Then that night, we have Horror and Anime and Manga 2024. This is going to be 10:30 p.m. in 302AB, which is a larger room than we're expected. And then finally, on Sunday, May 26, 2024, we have 24 manga recommendations for grown-ups. This is at 11:30 a.m. in 306A. Tons of manga titles and tons of really cool things. I'm really excited to see what we're going to do and how these are going to go. And if you're in the Raleigh area, check it out. I am excited to see what we're going to do and how it's going to go. So, beforehand, I want to thank all of you who are checking out this podcast and who've been checking it out for the last 16 years or who are just joining now. I appreciate each and every one of you, every email I get, every comment I get. It gives me more incentive to keep doing this podcast. I love doing this, and I'm going to keep doing this to an old man who has to read manga with thick glasses. And just for some statistics that are kind of fun and kind of cool, let's get to some cool things about the podcast over the last 16 years, shall we? So first off, going to it, the most popular manga review of all time from this podcast was episode 60, which is Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon. All the way back then, that's the most popular manga with over 10,000 downloads. Then we have our most popular manga review of the last 2 years was episode 444, The Toilet Bound Hanako-kun. The most popular manga review of the year, this year, was Blade of the Moon Princess, which happened a couple months back. And then last and certainly not least, our most popular manga review that was on YouTube was episode 267, Great Salaryman Kintaro. That is our most popular YouTube review. I don't know why, but it is. Kind of crazy. And anyway, it's just some fun news. So with that in mind, let's get to the part that you have all been waiting for. And what are we talking about? We are talking about that one, that only, the Yes, friends, the Wheel of Manga, except no substitute. Now, what is the Wheel of Manga? The Wheel of Manga is a Wheel of Fortune with 10 slots on it. What I've done is if I assign a manga title to each of the 10 slots, so we're going to spin the wheel. Whatever number it lands on, that title is what I'm going to review in the next episode of the Spiraken Manga Review, episode 558. And for rules from now on, whenever I spin, whatever number I'm at, it's the next number is going to be the one that's going to be up there. So 557, we're going to start on 8. 559, start on 0. Get it? Got it? Good. So let's spin and see what we're going to review the next episode, shall we? Number 9, Marriage Toxin. What is it about? I don't know, but we're going to find out. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. As usual, I am your host, Zan. I am Gonzville. Thank you for the last 16 years. Catch you guys next time, and as always, keep reading on. See you later.